All right, so the second question from Lanterns at Dusk is, do you have your own set of symbols that you use in your practice? And the simple answer to that would, I suppose, be yes, but it's a lot more complicated than that. I think that this way of practicing witchcraft, there's a guy named Mitch and we do a craft, witchcraft, where we write spells that are specifically set around symbolism. So we take a candle that is a color that corresponds to our intentions, and we take some herbs and sprinkle it around the candle because we looked it up in a book and then that's what it said that it was for. I find that a really difficult way of doing magic that is personal to me. I've always encouraged people who have come to me asking for reference guides to herbs and colors and deities, that those people really look into the history of these things and decide for themselves what they believe those things symbolize. And for gods and goddesses, those things can be very tenuous among the community. Those things can be very historically set and sort of set in stone for a lot of people who are religious, and so you do sort of have to tread lightly there. But for the rest of the stuff, I think that there needs to be a temperance of historical understanding and the way that it has affected you in your own life. I would say that most of the symbolism that I use within the forms of magic that I practice are very functional symbolism. I don't do really anything that would resemble a spell within witchcraft. Pretty much all of my magic is focused around very mundane things that I do with a certain intent. So whether that's putting on my makeup in the morning, whether that's doing my hair, whether that's brewing or cooking or cheese making or charcuterie or something like that. And then of course, you know, I have some other smaller forms of magic that I do that are perhaps considered low magic or folk magic or family magic, and these are things that were taught to me by my grandmother, sometimes my mother, and maybe to them even those things wouldn't be considered magic, but within the confines of my own practice and what I've developed, those things have, to me at least, become symbolic in a way. So I hate to say it, but I pretty much reject any notion that magic has to be based on a symbolism of your intent, and I really reject pretty much all reference books that have been coming out recently, especially that give you a very handy reference to what stones mean, what herbs mean, what colors mean, what, you know, like a lot of that stuff, it's just authors pulling stuff out of their ass, honestly, and that's really problematic for me. If you are asking because you want to know more about reference guides that I trust, I really don't have one. I don't really use herbs symbolically. I use them very functionally, and I guess whatever symbolism they hold is just the extra perk of using them. But I really would recommend that you start looking into yeah, over here. I sort of like this one, and I think it's because it meant something to me as a child, Earl Mindell's Herb Bible. My mother had this book when I was very young. She also had a lot of like folk remedy and home remedy books. Honestly, you know, if you do have a Wiccan leaning and you're interested in just a guide where you don't have to think very hard, there's also Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, which I own but do not use very often, but I own it. There's a really good book, and it's like across the room, so I don't want to go grab it because I'll like knock everything over, but I think it's called Wicked Plants. That's a really interesting read too. And beyond that, I would look into science journals and studies that are being done currently about the use of plants in their natural state. I would look into maybe your own family history with herbs, you know, talking to your grandparents or your great-grandparents, if you still have them around, about herbal remedies and sort of superstitions that maybe run in your own family. So those are all really good sources of inspiration for beginning to create symbolism for your own practice, and I really hope that that's helpful. And I'm sorry that I do sort of very much stray from the sort of set norms within Tumblr witches, and I hope that that's okay with you.